Welcome, everyone, to our weekly podcast. This is Tony Wheel from beautiful, of course, Florida. And I have a little extra now because my yard is being beautified. So it is so gorgeous and so many big bees. They are, I don't know, I know the Dutch word for it. I forgot the American word. It's like um, I don't know.
Bumblebees.
It's bumblebee. Yeah, it's a really
hmm
big
Or
and
yellow, yeah,
yeah, and
bumblebees.
they are actually they're checking me out. When I sit outside, they go around me and a little lower, and then they fly off again and go to the flowers because I have now a yard full with flowers.
Mm.
And just decided this morning that one section of the yard is going to be all white flowers.
Ooh,
So
nice.
I just have to try it out. But then, I wish the Dutch wildflowers, but hey, we're not in the Netherlands, so there are other wildflowers here in Florida. So I got the seed specific for this area because it's kind of hot here, This is zone 10.
Yeah, a lot of humidity there.
Yeah. And let's not forget, we have with us today, of course, Sarah from Virtuous Unicorns. We're happy to have Katie with us again. And we have Gary Parents all the way in Arizona. And are you home now, Katie? You're in South Dakota?
I am.
Yeah.
Except
Okay.
that next week I'll be traveling again, but I'll still be able to make the show. But yes, it's just been a little busy lately.
Yeah, and here I am. I'm always in Florida. Once they settle, you know that you're home if you don't feel that you have to go on vacation to get away from it. And it's like I traveled my whole life and I absolutely loved it and needed it. It was like an sort of an outlet. You worked the whole year hard, now you have to go on vacation. And now I don't want to go. I am on vacation. Because it's what you create, and although the United States is so beautiful, and I absolutely love the Black Hills in South Dakota and Arizona. My gosh, Route 89A, Sedona, Jerome, that area there,
Yeah.
totally love it. But it's been so many years since I've been there, so
Well,
someday when we fixed up that old what is it now, more than 40 years old RV, a beautiful REFCON when it's all working 100%. My God, we're gonna travel. We're gonna be nomads.
yes.
Because
It's
it's just part of I don't know. It's happy, being happy, traveling, meeting people.
yeah.
They
Yeah, campfires at night, celebrating the different moons and uh different just it's amazing, and there's so many talented people out here. It's incredible. There's music every single night somewhere. Drum circles, and the drum circles, I just learned that the rhythm from the drum circles actually helps the trees, the nature and the mycelium grow underground. The vibration of the drums helps that create that. That's
I
according to
haven't
science.
I have a djembe drum. I haven't used it in a long time, but I don't think the neighbors will be so happy when
When you start your drum circle,
so yeah, well, yeah, by myself.
yeah, the circle
Yeah.
of one.
I did used to go to drum circles, yeah.
Yeah,
So, okay, I see that Lisa is here. I see Ingrid. Yeah, last week we wanted to talk about the lymphatic system function, anatomy and physiology. Because the lymphatic system, it's like I think a lot of people are not really that much aware of what it actually does. So the team from they call it the Dr. Morse's team from Western Botanicals, they put up a beautiful article and blog, and I put it now in a PDF, so it's easy for me to send it out if somebody wants it, and then you get the link because they talked about it too, and which appropriate herbs you can use to help it out, but it's not necessarily where I want to go today. Gary talks a lot about opening up of the 6 lymphatic gates. And it's like, okay, we heard about that, but now what is the lymphatic gate? How is it with all these lymph nodes? And there's one swollen here, there's one hurting there. It's like, okay, how does it all work? So I figured this would be a good one, a good time to, and that's why we're trying it again, because last week we had so many questions and we didn't even have the time for it. And I don't have a ton of time today either because I have a few other appointments this afternoon. So I'll put it up on the screen so you can read with it because I'm going to read some, but not all, I think. I hope not. Maybe you hope not. Okay, let me see. Where was that screen share thing? I just saw it when I was setting this up. Share. And share. And then that's the one. Okay, this is the one you are screen sharing. I don't need to see that little thing. Okay, now it's gone. And of course, click on the wrong things. How do I always do that? There we are. It has an you're not even aware of how many lymph nodes you had. Because sometimes when I hear that somebody had a surgery for cancer and then I hear how many lymph nodes were removed, and I was like, oh my gosh. I knew from a family member actually who had prostate cancer, and they removed, I don't know what she said, like 26 lymph nodes in the belly area and the groin. And we are always like, yeah, Gary, we are always like, we need those things.
Yeah, we certainly do.
Yeah. And here you get an idea about, I mean, there's even more than what you can see here, but it's usually the big ones. I think we all experience that at one time or another is the ones in your neck and behind the ears. And at one time I had one that was, oh my God, it was this, it had swollen to the size of a grapefruit. And of course, doctors, holistic doctor, and was like, yeah, you need antibiotic, otherwise you only have a 25% of surviving. Well, and eventually they talked me into it, but after 2.5 months it took before it was going down. And I always wondered if I had not taken it, would it have gone away? Now, I would say I would have fasted. It's the first thing I would have done. Just fasting. Can be water. It can be the lemon water because I know how powerful that can be. And yeah, but it's like we got scared into using the antibiotics. And now I'm talking about this, and I know it goes against the mainstream medical industry. We are being shadow banned on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
So that's one of the people who was watching it, and he mentioned it. We couldn't even, certain videos couldn't be found. No, and I looked up what shadow banning means, and it is not forever, it's always temporary. And it often goes automatic. If you have these trigger words, then there you go. So it's like, okay, should we be careful with our trigger words? So far, I have not had a, well, only one time. Years ago, that I had to be careful with what I was using, what kind of words. And that was actually about baby food. And they didn't agree with what we were talking about.
Didn't fit the narrative.
I'd say that?
Didn't fit the narrative.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
and my God, I mean, we got so much information out, and sometimes you cannot watch every word that you say because I feel it's now, yeah, we have to say it's our opinion, but there is a lot of truth in that opinion that we have. So,
Well,
okay, let me start reading a few things, and you guys, you can read with me. And if you want to have this article, just send me an email. The email is healthywithfruit@gmail.com, and I'll send it out to you. Right now, I cannot read any questions. So, Sarah, if there are any questions, would you be able to read them?
I sure will.
Yeah, and I was thinking we can do that at the end of when we're done talking with this, or if it is related to what we are talking about, of course, then we can jump in. All right. Unlike other body systems that are linked to a major organ or grouping of organs, lymph is everywhere. Lymphatic fluid is permeating. Do I spell that correctly? Permeating?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Mhm.
Throughout the body, slipping in between cell walls and commingling in capillary beds. It is no surprise that lymphatic function is intrinsically. Okay, here's my range of difficult words for this Dutch woman. Entwined with immunity as the two systems work together to maintain optimal health. The lymphatic system is often overshadowed by the immune system, but not here at Dr. Morse's. We are all about the lymphatic system as it is a major system of elimination, comprises the majority of the body's water, and is often the first system to send the alert when our defenses are compromised. To fully understand the lymphatic system, we first look to the immune system, as this is the primary system in which the lymphatic function is intricately.
Incentric? I don't know.
Intricately.
Intricately. See, that is the
Mhm.
thing. In Dutch, you speak all of the words. In English, you have to do it really fast, and then it sounds like you know what you're saying.
You always talk really fast. That way it sounds like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my gosh. The immune system orchestrates responses to foreign microbes, relying on lymphatic vessels to transport immune cells, antibodies, and other defense mechanisms throughout the body. The immune system compromises cells, tissues, and organs. Do I ever hear things double? Distributed throughout the body. While it lacks a singular location, it operates through the three primary barriers dedicated to safeguarding us daily. These barriers, all part of the innate immune system, serve to prevent the entry of foreign substances or potential threats and are present in our interfaces with the external environment. The the skin, respiratory system, lungs, and digestive system, stomach and gut. And we have the immune barrier breakdown. The first one is the skin, the first barrier, and it's literally a physical barrier of protection. And then mucus, snot. This is really funny. My husband asked, "What is snot nose in English?" And I was thinking about it. Do they actually have a different? Because that is a Dutch word, snot nose. And do they actually have a different word for snot here in the United States, like mucus? No, they call it snot here too. So you could say it's snot nose. It's produced by mucous membranes in the tissue that lines the nose, throat, bronchial passages, and the gut. Because you can get mucus out of the gut too. And three, immune cells are a variety of cells with different protective functions. Now, it's often said, and you can tell, maybe you can tell us more about that, Gary, is that you don't really have an immune system, that your lymphatic system is your immune system. What do
Yes.
you think about that? How would you, with what I just read, is how would you explain that then, if the immune system is the lymphatic system?
The lymphatic system takes all the toxins away from the body and pushes it out through. So we have an absorption and we have an elimination channel, which is your lymphatic system, your bathroom. So anything that comes in the body that doesn't belong there, it's the lymphatic system job to take it out, which would include anything like the immune system. It is the immune system because it's the only way it can get out. We have 13 channels of elimination, and those are all processed through the body so that we can eliminate. And that's why we take showers, because we're wiping off all that stink from the cellular waste, which is actually urine. And we're not taking care of the inside. That's one of the big issues that we have in society right now. But yeah, that's how I would explain that is
Yeah, because you have a lot of people that say, yeah, I have an autoimmune disease and
Right.
my body is attacking it. Like, no, your body is not attacking itself. You have a weak area. And yeah, there are so many autoimmune diseases now, and they just put it all under one name.
yeah, and they don't even know what that is, by the way.
Yeah.
They
No,
have no
and even I mean, you've been doing this much longer than I have. I've been at it now for almost 6 years, and I thought I would see more changes around me, even with all the COVID stuff, but I'm still surprised. But some people are being told by their doctors.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're stuck in they don't want to change. It's the old system. And the old system isn't working anymore. Or it's not working as well as it once did, which is why 70% of Americans are in a chronic state of lymphatic disease. That's stage 3. Chronic is stage 3 lymphatic congestion.
Yeah.
The only way you're going to get it out is wash it out with good liquids and live foods like fruits, berries, melons, and even veggies. Some people are just so congested they can't even have fruit yet. They have to start with a lower thing and work their way up to it. So that's the big thing. And once people start, and I see it all the time, I'm sure all of us do, the minute they start to feel better, they go back to the food that made them sick.
Yeah, I've been talking with quite a few people about this. It's like with the food addictions that we have, but why do we have a certain addiction? It doesn't make sense to me. And
Chemical.
chemical.
Chemical. They're putting addictive things, just like they did in the cigarettes. They're putting things in the food that makes it addicting. Because who owns the food manufacturing companies? The cigarette companies.
Oh, really?
Yes, almost all of our food manufacturing now, when they did the thing with the cigarettes, those guys had all kinds of cash. They just started buying food factories. And R.J. Reynolds owns almost all of them. So they're poisoning the food just like they did the cigarettes to make you addicted so they can get more sales.
Okay, let me see what is next.
Which has a lot to do with the lymphatic system because that
Yep.
poison congests the lymphatic system and it can dehydrate the blood too. So it's not 98% water. It's too thick, it gets congested and clogged.
The lymphatic system has three major functions. The first one is a cellular highway, and the lymphatic system delivers large molecules like metabolic cellular waste, damaged cells, destroyed bacteria, dietary fats from the gastrointestinal tract. See, I got that word out now.
All right.
Oh gosh, and hormones like progesterone to the bloodstream for metabolism or storage. The cellular highway is the primary focus of Dr. Morse's detoxification campaign. The lymphatic system is a major pathway of elimination. That's why he always calls it the sewer system.
Mm-hmm.
Lymph fluid moves metabolic cellular waste and destroyed bacteria out of the interstitial spaces in our tissues back into general circulation to be removed by the liver and kidneys. Lymph travels throughout all major organs to collect this cellular debris, making lymph a detoxifier for your detoxed organs like the liver, the GI tract, the kidneys, and the lungs. See, that is something when you read it like that or you see the words like that, things start making sense what the lymph is actually doing. Because anyone who listens to Dr. Morse now know what the lymphatic system is doing. the medical industry, you don't hear much from them about it. And the
Yeah.
image right next to this section, it shows you it's really everywhere in the body and even in the brain. And I think Dr. Morse always thought it was funny that he was speaking about the lymph system in the brain ever before the medical industry talked about it, and then all of a sudden there was, I think it was in a medical magazine from the UK, that they now had discovered there was also a lymph system in the brain, and he was already talking about it for years. Fluid homeostasis. The lymphatic system moves fluid from tissues throughout the body to the heart to re-enter circulation. Now, people have been
Yeah.
talking about, is this now correct or is this not correct?
To me, it's not correct.
Okay, explain.
Well, the body is working so hard to separate everything from the blood. The lymphatic system's job is to keep the blood alkaline. So it can get congested and the blood not be affected that much because you can't really fluctuate the pH of the blood very much before you really start having some issues. The lymphatic system, however, though, is the acidic side of the body. So the blood is the alkaline side, the lymphatic system is the acidic side. All acids go into the lymphatic system. So it does not make sense to me that two separate systems doing two separate jobs. One's feeding, blood is feeding, lymph is cleaning. Why would it go back up and go back into the blood to get to the heart when the heart does not really take an acid very well because it's supposed to remain alkaline? And so they're saying it goes to the heart and down through and into the kidneys that way. Well, I think it's a separate system, and the blood comes down and it goes into the kidneys and flushes it there. That's what Dr. Morse teaches, is that it goes through the kidneys, which is what a dialysis machine is, right? Takes the blood and I don't know. I think I just backed myself into a corner there. I don't know how to talk myself out of that one.
We tend to do that once in a while.
Yeah, well, if they're filtering the blood to take the toxins out, that means your lymphatic system must really be messed up because your blood is now too acidic, or they've taken a kidney, or you have both kidneys are not filtering, so they have to do it through the blood. I don't know. I got to think about that. The the whole bottom line is of everything here that we've been talking about is the only way anything can really get out of the body is through the lymphatic system. And that's why you have 13 channels. And 7 of those channels are in your head. So it's really
Well,
important.
maybe the section underneath, because you don't have it in front of you. The lymphatic system maintains fluid homeostasis, which helps to maintain normal blood pressure. As fluid in the body accumulates in capillary beds where oxygenated blood from the heart is delivered to the cells of the body, lymphatic capillaries are present to mop up excess interstitial fluid and return it to a general circulation.
Okay. Now, my theory on this is who cares?
Yeah,
As long as you're cleaning it,
yeah.
it's the mastermind.
Well, yeah,
It's
I
it,
agree. I agree, Gary. That is like,
it's
we can keep it simple, and
right.
this is what it is, but it is, I like to read certain things and then it's like, oh, this is how it works. So that is where we actually go into this. But yeah, sometimes things can be too medical or how everything works, and it wouldn't directly make sense because you cannot really visualize it.
Right. And that's how you start chaos. right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm still going through with the
But
rest of the article.
oh yeah. No, I think we should. And there's 5 liters of blood in the body, approximately. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure Shaq has more blood than I do, or
Mhm.
than a child. Uh, and there's 15 liters. So if a person has 5 liters of blood in their body, they have 15 liters of lymphatic fluid.
Oh, I did not know that.
So there's a lot more lymph in the body, and you can't ignore the lymphatic system, not without causing yourself pain and suffering. And everything that the medical system does on our side of the aisle has to do with the blood. There is a whole side of the American Medical Association. All they study is the lymphatic system,
Wow.
and it does not come to us
No. Now
because
it has a section about immune signaling. The lymphatic system is a transport pathway for immune cells. Lymph nodes survey the lymph fluid picked up from the capillary beds, looking for anything unfamiliar. On its way to the heart, lymphatic fluid passes through lymphatic nodes to be screened by lymphocytes for microorganisms. Once a foreign organism is detected, the lymph signals immune cells and the inflammatory response. So lymphatic fluid is 96% water, making it one of the major storehouses of the 60% water content in the average human body. When comparing micro to macro, our body to the earth body. The lymphatic system is laid out like a river system with smaller tributaries giving way to larger streams and rivers, eventually dumping back into the ocean. Lymphatic fluid is transported from tiny lymphatic capillaries into lymphatic vessels, which flow to lymphatic nodes where most of the action happens. After lymph is screened in the nodes, it continues to travel upward to one of 2 terminal ducts where lymph fluid is dumped back into general circulation. Like with any natural watershed, optimal environmental conditions are necessary for the lymphatic fluid system to function properly, quality, shape, flow, and connectivity. Oh, of the 20 liters of blood plasma that pass from the arteries to the veins via capillary beds each day, only 17 liters return to the venous circulation. The remaining 3 liters becomes lymphatic fluid. Excess interstitial fluid presents in capillary beds, of which there are an estimated 10 billion capillary beds in the body. It passes through the single layer of overlapping endothelial cells that make up the lymphatic capillary membrane and becomes lymphatic fluids. Now, I was going to ask something about that because when we drink water, and it's like liquids or water from fruit goes into the cells, and water does not and is interstitial. So water would be actually also be a part then of carrying out the toxins.
yes, because because it's a astringent. When it goes in, it's moving and pulling on things and softening things. Uh, Lemon water is better at it than just water. Um, you can get a pH 6 water, which is on the acidic side, which is what your rain is. Your skin is 5.5 to 6 pH. So when the rain comes, it feels good on our skin. Uh,
Not
and
today.
that carries a negative electromagnetic charge, and all the things that are making you sick that's in your body carry a positive electromagnetic charge. So when you're putting things like lemon in the water, which is about a 2.5 pH probably, but when you put a half a lemon or a whole lemon, not half, a whole lemon in 32 ounces of water, it is no longer that pH. It's much higher. And you need, to me, you need a little bit of acid to go in to break up acid to get to that tissue and pull that apart so that it'll soften it so that the blood and lymph can get through to feed and clean. Because you're not feeding and cleaning. You know, look what happens to your house or the inside of your car or something like that if you don't clean it once in a while. And it's not going to run if you don't feed it. So,
Well, there is a part where what you talked about too with correct breathing. Like because lymph vessels do not have a pump, lymph flows from one chamber to the next, using the pressure of skeletal movement like walking, exercise, dancing, respiration, and smooth muscle contractions. Yeah.
yes, and sitting is the new smoking because when you're sitting in a chair, your gates are closed. I mean, your gates are just above your and below your collarbone, and behind your ears is a gate, and where your shoulder rolls into your chest plate, there's a little groove there. That's a gate, and you go underneath the arm in the armpit area, and you start moving. There's all kinds of lymph nodes in there, and you want to get those things moving. If you have any swollen areas or anything under your arm, that lymph that's trying to be eliminated there is backing up in the house, and that causes breast cancer, lung cancer, bone cancer. It has the potential to do that. But if you start cleaning it out and doing proper hydration and breath work, 70% of your detox is through your breath. So as we open these gates, things can start to drain again and health will return, because what created that dis-ease in the body was a congested lymphatic system.
Yeah, they mentioned four main lymphatic nodes. We have four main lymphatic nodes throughout the body.
The,
I'm not
the largest one in the body is right under your belly button.
Let me see. Well, they mentioned here the lymph nodes in the armpits, in the neck, the groin, and
Yeah.
in the chest cavity. They all have different names. Half of it I cannot pronounce correctly. And these nodes filter lymphatic fluid looking for unwanted organism.
Mm-hmm.
The nodes are gatekeepers in the sense as inside the lymph nodes are white blood cells, B cells, and T cells, also called lymphocytes. These white blood cells attack and break down bacteria, viruses, damaged cells, and cancer cells. This actually comes from an UK medical magazine. Therefore, any unwanted organism that has traveled out of the blood into lymphatic circulation is targeted and destroyed in these nodes.
And the other thing to remember is the medical system just found out about the lymphatic system, the one that we know, the medical system that we know. They just found out about it. In 2016, they found what they called the glymphatic system, which is from the neck up, because it had to have a new name because somebody new discovered it. But it's actually lymph. It's all one system. You can give it 100 different names, like they do sugars and things like that. But the most important thing is not to worry about why it's doing it. What the most important thing is learning how to stop it from doing it, to bring your body back to health. And you cannot have a cell without lymph being attached to it somewhere. And your lymph nodes, they actually have memory and they communicate with each other because something is being sent through and it's being alkalized on the way through so that it can be eliminated without burning you. All your intestinal tract, I mean, there's absorption happening there. There's all kinds of processes, but you have an ascending, transverse, and descending colon or intestinal tract, and it's an alkalizing system. So as it's moving through, it's being processed and alkalized. And if it goes too fast, just like any assembly line, if it was chocolates and it started speeding up and it was going faster than you could put the chocolates in whatever you have to do or inspect them, there's going to be a breakdown. Well, that's what happens in the body. If it rolls through too fast, it's too acidic and it starts to burn. And we know that as IBS or Crohn's. And all you have to do is slow your system down and that will go away. But they're not interested in doing that. You know, if they tell you that you're going to be on medication for the rest of your life, there's no cure there. There's only suppression. And those drugs have to get stronger and stronger because the lymphatic system is getting more congested behind it because they're suppressing the pain, and the pain is there to get you to move to do something. And if you're not willing to move or you don't know what to do to move, you will stay there and stay on those pills and you'll be on them forever. And that's not right. Your body wants to heal itself. It doesn't want to be just limping along. But without the proper knowledge on how to do that, which is just simply washing the internal body and keeping it hydrated and oxygenated and nutrified, the body won't have any problem. You shouldn't even feel your body. Your body should just be a vessel that moves you around because you're the energy in the body, you're not your body. And when the body grabs attention, it's because it's having a problem, but because we're not trained to understand it, we end up doing all kinds of synthetic meds and stuff that aren't really, they're not helping, they're suppressing. So I'll leave it at that so we can get to more questions.
We actually do have a question in the chat, and it is about the lymph. Cap says, I keep having to spit throughout the day. They call it hypersalivation. Does that mean my lymph is coming out of my mouth?
Yes, there is lymph coming out of your mouth, but I would have you check to see if you're filtering, your kidneys are filtering, because usually if something is overactive, acupuncture might do that, EFT might calm that down. I just helped one of my friends that had ringing in his ears, and we did EFT with that, and it was and it went away in like 3 rounds. So, and he's at it for 9 years. So, all that, everything is about the lymph. Inflammation is in the lymphatic system, and what it does is it interrupts the nerves that go in there, and they can't vibrate properly. So that goes back to smell and taste and hearing. Okay, inflammation in the eardrum. You'll start to hear that like you got a seashell up to your ear. I've had 5 people come to me with they couldn't smell or taste since they got the jab. One woman was 81 years old, and I might have done 4 rounds of EFT with her, and she could smell and taste again. And I know she wasn't kidding because I used a lemon cut in half. And when she dragged it across her tongue, you can tell if they can taste it or not. And her face was all scrunched up. And that's the first thing you had to do was smell it. Because a lot of our taste has to do with our ability to smell the food. So there are all kinds of things that we can do. But what we want to do is get rid of that inflammation, like an upper circ brain and nerve, or the live liquids are the best as far as I'm concerned. Especially the master cleanse or fruit juices. With the master cleanse, I use a little pinch of Himalayan salt, because if your kidneys are in trouble, not your kidneys, well, your kidneys and your adrenals, because they kind of work together, the salt will actually help boost the energy in your body. And if you can kickstart the adrenals and help them, and they'll get stronger and stronger, and the kidneys will get cleaner and cleaner with the liquids, especially with like dandelion, like a dandelion tea or a raspberry leaf tea. Those will help your kidneys straighten out, and then the adrenals will straighten out, and you're getting more and more power back. uh, and life will completely change for the good, for the better. Absolutely. Because of that. And you got to listen to your body, because you can oversalt, but we are undersalted today. And it's affecting our whole system. It's affecting the blood, it's affecting the lymph, it's affecting everything. But the most powerful system in the body, other than the nervous system to me, is your lymphatic system. It's the biggest fluid system, and it has to keep moving, and you have to keep those gates open. And if those gates aren't open, you're going to start having problems. If it's down in around the groin, you have testicular and ovarian and prostate and colon issues. If it's up under the solar plexus, that runs right down, right around the belly button. If it's there, then you get bloated. You get all kinds of things that can happen because the acids are building up there. And you can have stomach cancer, you can have liver issues and spleen. And I mean, everything is down. 2/3 of our fluid is from our pubic bone to our solar plexus. And it has to keep moving. If it's not moving, if the lymph's not functioning properly and the blood's not flowing properly, you're going to have dis-ease in your body, not disease, dis-ease. They took a frequency, because everything is a frequency, and they gave it a name. And when they gave it a name, you don't know that it's a frequency. And you change your frequencies through your breath, just from breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And doing a belly breath, you're moving all that lymph, you're moving all that blood in and out, and it changes the pressure in your body. And that pressure is what moves everything. So, breath is incredibly important for keeping the blood and the lymph moving through the body, and keeping the electrical system clean. Our fascia, a lot of our lymph runs through that, and our nerves run through that. And if it gets inflamed at all, then you're going to have issues in that area. Arthritis. I said to a guy the other day, I'd asked him if he had been checked for arthritis, and he said, I found out I have early on rigor mortis setting in. So he was a little on the aged side. But all that is dehydration in the joint. It's inflamed. The joint is inflamed and the fluid can't get in. That's all it is. And when you learn how to, and we have it in all the videos, how to work your knees, the blood and the lymph comes in from the back side of your knee to the front. And if that gate back there is closed and that pump's not working back there, it's in the top of your thigh, then you're not getting any blood and lymph in there, so it's not feeding and cleaning the cells, and you end up with pain. The more severe it is, the more that gate is blocked. I've worked with a lot of people out here in the desert that have knee problems, and within 5 or 6 meetings, their knees are already starting to get better. I had a guy with tennis elbow, and in one session, it's the only one he came to too, in one session, his elbow had already started to feel better, and it had been that way for a long time. So there are all kinds of things we can do. We're just not being taught that because it doesn't cost anything. There's not enough money in it for the big leagues, for the big farmer. And I think they're about to have a real awakening. I hope they are, as to what's going on, because they're just torturing people. That's all they're doing. And I've seen it firsthand with my own family. And they're all gone. They've all passed through the greatest medical system in the world. Come on, they don't even talk about the lymph. And all cancers are lymphomas, and they're in the lymphatic system. And what does that cause? Swelling. And when you open those channels up and get these gates open, that fluid can start to move out and those tumors will go away. And I've seen it, I've experienced it. It's so simple. And that's why they use different languages for all these medical terms. So you won't realize they have this big fancy word. They hold a skull, right? It can be a fake skull, actual skull, whatever. In the back, where your neck is, there's a big hole there. They have a fancy name for that. Do I care about that fancy name? Nope. Your your spinal column comes up and it goes through that hole. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know Latin and Greek and all these different things. And that's why they do it. So won't know what they're talking about. And I guess it makes them seem smarter. To me, it doesn't make them seem smarter. They've just learned a different language to try to explain something and make it complicated when it's really simple. You're either feeding the cells and cleaning the cells, or you're not. And what we put in our mouth, which is our new belly button, and it goes through the river of life, it's either going to contaminate the stream or it's going to loosen the stream so it can flow properly. Just like building a dam. That's what it is. These gates are like a dam. And you build it across the river, it backs up behind it. It's pretty simple. So I'll leave it at that. I hope that covered what you wanted.
Sounds like it did. Thank you, Gary.
Katie, you want to jump in with anything?
No, this has just been really good. And I'm sitting here writing notes to share with others. And I found it really interesting about what you were saying about the lymphatic system, like when we're sitting down and how those gates are closed. I never really thought about it. But then when you were describing it, it's like, oh, that totally makes sense. So anyways, great stuff, you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, I scrolled further down because they had a section about actually the lymphatic organs, and they are, of course, they are important. Everything in your body is important, but with the medical industry always being so easy to remove it, and the big one is actually the tonsils.
Mm-hmm.
There are also notes they are a ring of lymphatic tissue just under the mucous membrane of the nose, mouth, and throat. They are one of the first line of defense of our immune system, as lymphocytes and macrophages signal an immune response when they detect any unfamiliar organism and cause inflammation. Now, you see that most, Gary, Sarah, Katie, I think we all experience that. You see it mostly in kids. And it's very rare actually to have these experiences as an adult sometimes. And it's only in the last few years that I actually learned about tonsil stones. But my tonsils were removed when I was, I think, 7 years old, anywhere between 5 and 7. And that happened to a lot of us. And my daughter, she still has her tonsils, but her appendix was removed when she was 16. Also something that happens a lot with younger people. And I have to be honest, I don't really know the good reason for that. Can you enlighten me, Gary?
I think it was a experiment. I was in that assembly line for the tonsils. We have 6 tonsils, not 2. And their job is to, when we breathe or drink or eat, it's looking for contaminants. And the tonsils create vaccines that help the body regenerate itself. So, knowing how many vaccines there are in the world right now and how many we get, taking the tonsils out would only make more profit for people who not only cut them out, but create vaccines. They do get swollen, obviously. And when they do, it's because they're full of toxins and they need to be cleaned out. Well, they don't clean. That's been my thing all along. Why clean it out when we can cut it out and make thousands and thousands of dollars, and we have as many people as we can get in there? And it's part of your lymphatic system. So they can't cut your lymphatic system up enough. And like I said, they really just found it because when you pass, it kind of disappears. It's kind of translucent anyway. And so that's why, well, like Dr. Morse says, I can't wait for him to find the lymphatic system in the spine,
Yeah.
because they're not talking about the lymphatic system in the spine. And if things don't move, it's like when you take a deep breath, all the plates in your head expand and contract when you exhale. They expand when you breathe in through your nose, and they reduce when you exhale through your mouth. If you're breathing through your mouth, it doesn't really involve your head. It's just from your mouth down. So you can work your diaphragm, but you have to really pay attention to it. Where your nose is definitely working your diaphragm.
What is that old saying? A body in motion stays in motion.
Yes.
So when we breathe properly, when we're getting our exercise, such as, walking, gardening, stuff like that, your body is moving. And when you're breathing properly, you're eating properly, you're masticating your mouth, and everything is just working properly. Your body's staying hydrated and it's staying in motion.
True.
Yeah, you mentioned the breathing properly, the drinking and eating properly, and the motion. You create perfection. But, we have so many sitting jobs. I have a sitting job. I mean, I can, go around the block to move. Gary, you mentioned the sun swing. And this has been a while. One of the first time that you showed this to us, and you mentioned if you do nothing but only this one, it would still be
Yep.
good.
Yes.
Why was that? Because I tell people that I talk with to do it.
Yep. You're moving every muscle in the body. You're moving the blood, and you're working your lymphatic pumps, your nose, and the balls of your feet. And as you're swinging back and forth, you're moving every joint in the body. That's why if you do that for 10 minutes a day, all your aches and pains will go away. Not in the first 10 minutes, but you have to keep doing
No, not really.
it.
Oh yeah, here we go again with that magic pill that we all would love to have.
Right. The
But I
magic.
think I think, it is so rewarding actually to work on your body and see the results of your work. And when it comes to it, and I mean, I've been at a point that I did wish there was a magic pill. But now when I look back at everything and with what I did with the 40-day lemon water, it's like there is a joy in working on it. There is a joy in seeing the improvement and being proud of yourself. How can you be proud of yourself if you take a magic pill and everything is done again? It's not. And we need that part of our life to be proud of what we're doing and see the results and know that we accomplished it and that we can do it.
Yes, and how many people do you know of that, like at Thanksgiving, and overeats and overdrinks, and that is joyful when they say, "Oh, I overate and I overdrink. I feel so guilty." Right? There's no joy there. But if you can find that place between the two, between the joy and the guilt, that you can be comfortable. This is part of the issue, and this involves the lymphatic system a lot. Cortisol, cholesterol. How you feel is going to determine how your blood flows and how your lymph flows and how your breath is going to enter your body. And what we're actually doing by doing qigong and breath work is we are exercising our breathing muscles, because the lungs don't breathe. And the lungs are a big part of moving the lymph through the body, through the upper body. And then the balls of the feet move it from the body up, because our lymphatic gate number 1 is right at the collarbone. Well, the lymph has to go from all the way from your toes all the way up through your body through all these gates to get to 1 to be eliminated. And if you have a block in those other 5, then you're not going to be getting it all. And the more severe the block, the more severe the pain and suffering. And that's what doctors wait for. I mean, to me, the lymphatic system is their greatest friend, because they put you on a pill when you're in pain, and they don't talk about the lymph, and the lymph gets worse, and then all of a sudden you're on a stronger pill, and then a stronger pill, and then you're looking at surgery and being cut up. That's how it works. And if you just clean out your lymphatic system with some good proper hydration, even doing a dry fast, the body starts to take out and eat and eliminate the things that are making us sick. So those are the things we have to be focused on. I don't care if the heart pumps the blood or if the diaphragm pumps the blood. I don't care how the kidneys are filtering between the lymph and the blood, because that's not my job. That's the body's job. What I want to know is how to help clean it out so that it can function properly. That's basically the only thing I care about. What goes in your mouth affects your entire body. You're feeding your cells. You're not just going out to eat. You're feeding and cleansing. And that's done through breath, through movement. And breath is like a really important movement. You see people, they're panting almost. I've seen people, it's so sad to see them in a car, and they're a little heavier than they should be, and they're actually panting like a dog. And they're sitting. They're not even doing anything. And that's all reversible. All of it. Not if you go to the doctor, it's not. You'll be on something for the rest of your life, because that's where they make their money. And that's a sad state of affairs. But unless we all start working together, which is why I do my stuff for free. If we don't start working together, we're going to lose this. And we have to get the word out and just show how simple it is.
Yeah,
You know,
I always say it's not easy to do, Gary. I mean, we can agree on that with all the, call it indoctrination, what we have been told. And even nowadays, with so many different options that are, as solutions for, if you Google anything, you come up with 100 different solutions, and none agrees with each other.
right.
And I'm like, I like to keep things simple. I do realize it's not easy to do. I mean, I experienced that myself. But once you found a balance, it's the easiest thing you do, because you do not worry that much anymore about what you need to eat, about what pain you have, and all your worries, and the doctor's visits, and how you are being pushed into things you don't really want. And then then I hear from people like, yes, but the doctor told me I have to. And people, you have to realize it is your body. You are in control. Nobody else. Nobody else can tell you what to do. I mean, it's like with certain things we have to tell you, you have to listen to your doctor, but doesn't mean you have to do anything with what they're saying.
Well, I
Right.
think too, the doctor, like it just depends on where you are. And I've talked with a lot of, I know a lot of doctors. I think almost all my friends are working some kind of medical field, but some of them have the opinion, not all, but some, that people are not willing to change. They're not willing to change their diet. They're not willing to do anything. And I watched that with my stepdad as well. And it's that they just do the best they can to make you feel okay because you're not willing to change. I know some other people, even at the VA hospital, where we worked with a nutritionalist and she saw the benefits that we did do with my stepdad. And after he went through another episode of whatever, he went back to eating normally. And I remember specifically the nutritionist saying, can't you go back to what your daughter had you on? And he was like, I don't want to. And so, like, they're working with, it's almost like, they just got tired of trying to change people because people are not willing to change. And so they were like, you know what? Let's all sit down. Let's come up with pharmaceuticals. Let's come up with all this just to keep people going. So that way they can just get through life and maybe make it to 60 or 70, 80 years old if you're lucky.
Mhm.
And that's kind of like where a lot of them feel like they're up against the wall at, but there's a lot of them that believe that they truly are helping people with doing this. So it really just depends on where you are in your journey and what you want to do, because the only person who can do anything for you is you. So if you're willing to change, then absolutely listen to your doctor first, then start incorporating what we talk about, incorporating, more water, fruit in the morning, taking walks, doing stretches, doing Gary's tongue exercises. Those are so hard, I just realized. And, doing stuff like that. And then work with your doctor to start, maybe coming off of some of your medications and inform them of what you're doing. Because that was the other thing we didn't do either. My stepdad didn't inform his doctor that he was going to go on an all fruit diet, being a diabetic and on insulin. Yeah, that was a weekend that his numbers came down really fast. I can tell you that much. So absolutely work hand in hand with them. And if they're not willing to work in that way of, let thy food be thy medicine, then start looking for another doctor. All medical doctors are not bad. Like I said, some of them are just, beaten down by time and stuff like that. So at the end, everybody knows right from wrong, and everybody truly does want to do right. So that's how I would handle moving forward.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that's
Sarah.
a good point.
And I find that very interesting, like just thinking about what Sarah was saying, how if right now we're just talking about the health element of everything, but when you look at this great awakening and all these truths that are coming out, and how some of us have lost our loved ones, we've lost our best friends and things like that.
Mhm.
It's because they're not ready yet. They don't want to make the change yet. Some of them can see some of these truths coming out, and so they know it, but they can't grasp everything. So I think what Sarah just said, it just depends on where are you? And then you just have to do best for yourself and not worry about anybody else. So I think that's interesting. And then even in the Bible, it says, don't throw your pearls before swine. Well, because pigs don't know what to do with pearls. And it's the same thing with this information that we do every week on these health shows. They're so important because right now, the people that are listening, they get it. They want to do better. They want help doing this. And then in years to come, there'll be more people that will find these videos they'll be ready to hear all the things that we're sharing here today. So it's so important. I did actually have a question, because before we started talking about the doctors and do what's best for you and things like that, Gary, you were talking about breath work, and we know how important breath work is.
Yeah.
And then I was just thinking about how many people that I know that have, what's that apparatus that they wear at night because they can't
CPAP.
breathe? Yeah, the CPAP. So I'm thinking about these people that have CPAPs, and then I'm thinking about even people who don't have the CPAP and they're still like mouth breathers. I mean, not during the day, but then at night they're mouth breathers. And I personally don't know. I mean, what can we do to help them stop being a mouth breather? I mean, do we just tape their mouths closed?
Yeah, Gary,
Which
before
I've
you
heard
get
recommended. So I mean, could we maybe address that?
Gary, before you get started, real quick to jump back, what Katie just said about people in the future will, see these videos and stuff. How many of us are, you know, I mean, I listened to Charlie's Bible decodes like as he was doing them, but how many of us are jumping back to watch Bill Donahue? And those were filmed like what in the 90s?
Yeah.
And stuff. So these are important, even though like people that are not ready to unplug, it doesn't mean that they won't be eventually. So everything we talk about is important. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, we're just planting seeds for a
Yes.
lot of people.
Yep.
And a lot of people will scoff at it and not want to do it, like that stuff won't work. Well, if you don't do it, it won't work. And if you don't believe it will work and you do it, it will still work. Same with Qigong, same with breath work. Your first breath was in, it gave you life. That's how you got here. And it is the only connection to here. Everything else is to feed the body. The quantum is to feed the energy in your body. The breath is to feed the energy in your body. So we have that duality of energy there, energy from the body, pure, clean, hopefully, which is not the case right now, because you can have thoughts that congest your lymphatic system, that congest your body, stress, sitting too much. It's the people in cubicles and they're sitting and they're resting their wrists on a desk or something and they're typing away, right? So they're closing off. This is a tube in here, carpal tunnel. And if that flattens out, that's when you have carpal tunnel. Well, there are ways around that are pretty simple to get rid of, but you have to open those gates. You have to get things moving and not let that tube in there, it's round, and not let it collapse so that the nerve, same thing, gets inflamed, and the nerve trying to run through to move everything, it starts to hurt because it's inflamed, and those nerves that run through there are are being pulled on, pushed and pulled, and we don't want that. Um, we want those areas nice and soft and a lot of liquid in them, a lot of blood and lymph to feed and clean. It's just learn those two things when you're eating: feed and clean, and also not feel guilty about what you're eating. To feel guilty is to cause a lot of distress in the body. Man, I love this stuff so much, but I know it's not good for me. Well, your body's listening, right? And I just can't go that many days without having some of this. And so we beat ourselves up for it. And those are the things we need to stop. And we're trained to do that.
It's funny you bring that up, Gary, because I mentioned in the last podcast that for my birthday, I wanted to eat those delicious, what was it, sweet potato fries. And somehow they didn't taste as good as I was hoping. And that's not the quality of the food. That was just me.
Yeah.
You get to a point you don't care about it anymore. It's not important anymore.
Mhm.
But in my mind, it still was, and it was like, do I really need to repeat this? Like, no, I don't really care about it anymore. I like my lemon water better.
Yeah. And you could take mangoes and cut them up into little strips and eat them like French fries.
No, well, not the mangoes I had lately because they were so juicy. It was
Oh,
like
juicy. Yeah.
a pulp in its inside,
Yep.
So it was very ripe. Guys, I gotta go.
Well,
Oh,
can we please touch on Katie? I didn't mean to cut her off. I'm sorry. The
no,
CPAP machine.
absolutely.
Yeah. Gary, she had asked you questions about helping people
Oh.
get off the CPAP machine and
Oh,
people
yes.
breathing through their mouth. Yes.
Yeah. The easiest way off it is hydration, doing your breath work, and doing Qigong so that you're opening up the pathways. The body is so congested that you can't breathe anymore. And make sure that your rib cage is able to expand and contract. And that's something you can work on to loosen that back up. People that have been shallow or mouth breathers for a long time, they breathe in the chest. Well, after a while, because it's so shallow and it's not expanding and contracting, it's just doing this. You're not getting enough oxygen in your blood, and that's why people are panting, and that's why they're on CPACs, and that's all that. You've got to get oxygen and hydration in your body and get that tissue open and get those lungs cleaned out. I'll show you this one breath. So we breathe in through the nose, right? Nice belly breath. And we exhale longer than we inhale. So this will help your body calm down. And if you have lung issues, you breathe in, put your head, like pretend there's a ball on your chest, and you put it under your chin, and you pull your head back straight. This is the inhale through the nose. And you pretend there's a string on top of your head pulling your head up. And then you exhale through your mouth, and you go out away from your chest. These 3, 4, and 5 are right here. These are your breathing nerves. They come out and they go right down through. So we don't really need to know C3, 4, and 5. We do need to know how to work the breath and the neck. There was a woman that needed a double lung transplant. They did that for, she worked up to 45 minutes a day. And this is a double lung transplant person, by the way. This is from the Mayo Clinic. And the 90 days she went back and they did a test, and her lungs were absolutely clear. No scar tissue, no nothing. They were completely healthy. So when your doctors tell you you're going to be on the CPAC for the rest of your life, or you're going to be on this for the rest of your life, start getting in tune with your body. Start breathing and hydrating and moving and opening these gates so that the body can flow. It's no different than a river or a stream. If you block it, it's going to back up. Same thing. This right here gets blocked, it's going to back up in the house. If it's your solar plexus, it's going to back up down into your stomach. So there are all kinds of things that you can do, but it takes action, and that the hydration is probably one of the most important parts, because your body is stuck, it's sticky, and the blood probably is not 98% water. So it's thick and it's moving slowly and it's not feeding things properly. So if you start doing that and you do some upper circ brain and nerve herbs and get the kidneys and adrenals online, your body has no choice. It has to regenerate itself. Not because I say so, because the laws of nature say so. So I'll leave it right there.
The formula that you mentioned, upper circ, is now blood circulation. There's no upper and lower anymore.
Oh, it's blood circulation.
Yeah, blood circulation.
So would you do that and do cleavers for the lymphatic
Yeah,
flow?
yeah.
Okay. So skull cap is another one that's good for upper circ brain and nerve, and it helps calm you down. It's not quite as good as like chamomile, but it does help calm the body down, the nervous system. So
And absolutely, the breathing exercises help. I've seen that with my husband too.
good,
Yeah,
good. I love it. And I mean, I was teaching sometimes 2 classes a day the whole time I've been out here. Every day, at least once.
yeah, and I have oxygen plants in my bedroom.
Oh yeah,
Like
good.
the snake plant or the sansevieria, you call it.
Yeah, it cleans the room and gives off oxygen, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it cleans the air,
Yeah.
which isn't just air. I mean, it's plasma, it's ethos, it's everything that the body needs. There's moisture there. Uh, I don't think I could be a breatharian because I don't think anybody can be a breatharian.
Well, there are people doing it.
They claim it, but
Okay.
most of those people, they catch them eating. And they may be on very little, like maybe not enough that we feel would sustain life. But yeah, I haven't seen one yet that didn't eat or drink something that had nutrition in it. Gandhi would eat one boiled egg a day,
Hmm.
and that's a little extreme to me. I don't know how much water he drank or anything, but there's enough. Supposedly, in one boiled egg, there's enough to sustain life. But he was a pretty skinny dude.
Of all things to choose, an egg.
Yep. Yep.
Well, there is
Yeah.
something with sorry, that I do feel that because I'm not even hungry when I'm fasting.
Right.
Feel great. I have more energy. It's unbelievable. I can do more.
Yeah.
And but then there is this whole calorie thing. Now, I've never been a believer with the calorie thing because it didn't make sense. Because and there are people talking, well, if I eat fruit, I need to eat like 24 bananas to get to the right calories. And
Yeah.
I'm like, but I have to admit, I can see my husband is very slender. And with his I think he's 5'11", he only weighs 135 pounds. Now, in the
Wow.
Netherlands, that is considered normal. That's a
Mm-hmm.
normal body, no fat on his body, he's strong. And so, he feels great and has a lot of energy. I mean, he's doing a 60 to 80-hour job in a week. So he can do that. And he is 70.
Mm-hmm.
Think that's pretty good. But
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like, okay, is he maybe not eating enough? Because he eats very little, very little.
Mm-hmm.
But we both always felt that there is no need for that much food. So where does that end? Where does that go then with, oh, but we need so many calories? Because actually in the what is it, natural hygiene groups, they really talk about how many calories we should have and how often it happens that people undereat. But it's like, the body takes whatever it needs from whatever we put in it. And I feel that we eat more than what we need.
Mm, definitely. That's what the biggest problem with America is right now. And the food is, I have two theories about the food. One, they say they're poisoning the food. Yeah, well, maybe. The thing is, you don't have to. All you have to do is convince the people that it's poisoned, and some will get sick and some won't. Do I believe they're poisoning the food? Yes, I do. But it's not all food. They show you a picture of watermelon. It's like lemon. It looks like rubber inside, and mangoes and all this new stuff that's coming out. It's all, and people are eating that stuff, and the body doesn't know what to do with it because it's chemical and it's synthetic chemical instead of nature's chemicals.
Yeah, and it cannot get any nutrition out of it.
Right, right. You can't break it down, so it puts it in a little pocket called a tumor, or it buries it in fat.
Yeah.
So that's why. And that's all lymph. And when you get down to that last 5 to 10 pounds you can't get rid of, that's only because your body's not strong enough for it to release that toxin that's in that fat. So it holds it. It won't let it go. And that's why some people have a hard time that last 5 to 10 pounds they're trying to get rid of. It won't work. Well, you have to keep doing what made you lose the weight to get down to that last 5 to 10 pounds. You have to keep doing that for a long time. And as the body gets clean and stronger, then it can release some of those and eventually they'll all go. But it's really tough for the body because most of the stuff well, I can't say most. A good percentage of the things that we're eating are synthetic, not natural. And we're a natural body, not a synthetic body. But they're trying to make us a synthetic body, just like that ice cream that I posted. They have a new ice cream made from recycled plastic. And
God.
it's not the container, it's the
Yeah,
ice cream.
yeah, Gary, but you know, when you look at packaged cheeses, and I have been
Yeah.
looking at some other things too. It has cellulose in it. Cellulose is wood. It's
Yes.
wood fibers.
Yep.
And they fill it up, and it's yet to keep it dry, and I'm like, God, I can't believe this. We
Yeah.
put
It's
that
like,
in the body. What do you think is going to happen with it? How can we
yeah.
even consider staying healthy? And it's not only cheeses, it's in a lot of things. I sometimes
Yeah.
make fun and look at all kinds of labels, and what did they come up with this time? It's really crazy. I have to answer a question from Cap. Are the lymph tinctures better for lymph flow than capsules? Yeah, I would think so. But that it also has alcohol, and do you want alcohol in your body? That's another question.
Yeah. I said to Dr. Morrison, somebody asked that question, and I said, well, if you put the tincture in whatever you're going to put it in, instead of your mouth, put it in a glass or put it in hot water or any
Yeah, some hot
juice or
tea.
whatever,
Yeah,
and it will evaporate.
yeah.
And the little tiny amount of alcohol that you get in that is not that big a deal. And they have glycerin.
Yeah, I don't like I've been looking up the glycerins, even the plant-based glycerins,
Yeah.
and the side effects that they can have, and it's like I'll take the tinctures with the alcohol anytime before I take the
Yeah.
glycerin.
Or just get the herb itself and make tea out of it and
Yeah.
drink it that way. And there's no alcohol. It's just water.
Yeah, but it seems to be not as well absorbed as the one with the alcohol in it.
Well, alcohol is quite an absorber in the body, and anybody that drinks knows that.
Yeah,
And if you add breath to it, you only need half as much alcohol
yeah.
because it will absorb deeper into the cells. But
Okay, I know I really have to go.
okay. It's
Thank
been
you.
fun though.
I just didn't want to cut Katie off.
No,
Yes, thank
no,
you
we're
guys
not.
for answering my questions, and then you just kept going, so that was really nice. Thank you
It's
so
a
much.
very important question, Katie. So
Yeah.
Yes.
It was
yes.
fun being here again. I missed you all. And I
Yes,
hope
we
you all
missed
have a great next couple of days, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Yes.
Okay. I'll probably
Thank you,
be on the
Gary.
road
Thank
by
you.
then.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Tony. And thank you, everyone in the chat.
Thank you, everybody. Love you
Thank
guys.
you all. Much love.
Love y'all
Bye-bye.
too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.